Right, well, good evening, Internet. I do hope to find you well. I'm James Martin, you're watching JM Guitar Tuition. Let's talk about the minor pentatonic, in this instance specifically the A minor pentatonic. Now, we all know the scale. You may know it as the root, flat third, fourth, fifth and flat seventh, or you may just know it as that box in the middle of the fretboard that sounds cool. But one way or another, this is a scale shape that we all encounter fairly early on in our playing careers. And to be quite honest, if you only learn one scale shape in your entire playing career, it's probably best that it should be this one. It is entirely possible to play for an entire lifetime just with this one shape. Not saying you should do that, but you definitely can do that. So, let's talk about 10 pentatonic patterns that you need to know. And before I go on, in case it's not obvious, this is a small channel, so if you are enjoying what we're doing here, what I'm doing here, then please do like, share, subscribe, and do please tell people about it if you think that you've got one or two friends who might find this kind of interesting and cool. Right, let's crack on. So our first pattern, we're going to look at playing this sequence in threes. Okay, if you are unfamiliar with sequencing, what we're doing is we're playing this in groups of three. So now I'm going up to three notes, so on the lowest note, the A, 5th fret E string, C on the 8th fret E string, and then D on the 5th fret A string. That's my first group of three. I'm then going to go back to the C note on the 8th fret of the E string and play C, D, E, 8th fret E, 5th and then 7th on the A. So I'm getting this overlapping effect. You can hear there that I'm getting this kind of cascading pattern of notes. A little bit more effective than just running up straight up and down. If I take that downwards, that's going to give me run that all together. If you're not used to this, I would recommend playing this with a triplet rhythm, at least to begin with. So think 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a playing three notes to the beat. You can also add hammer-ons and pull-offs into this. And I'm sure you can detect the Jimmy Page, Angus Young influence in that little one there. Moving on, to got the hang of threes. A nice trick is to try and play in bigger groupings. So we're going to look at fours. So what I'm doing here, same idea, playing through in groups of 4. 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going back down to my C note there on the 8th fret E string. 1, 2, 3, 4. And from the D, 1, 2, 3, 4. From the E, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, one thing I should mention is fingering here. If you're doing one finger, one fret, you're going to find yourself doing a lot of those types of finger rolls, playing from the 7th fret D back to the 7th fret A to start the next sequence. I don't like doing them, never really have. So what I found is a cheat. Here's my cheat. I'm going to bring that middle finger around on the 7th fret of the A. And every time I've got an awkward finger roll to do, let's bring my middle finger around instead. There we go. And again, I'd recommend using either 8ths or 16ths for that one to begin with. Either 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously you can try this one legato as well, hammer-ons and pull-offs. Okay, next up, let's keep on going with the bigger sequences. Now let's go into Eric Johnson territory, and we're going to use fives here. Now fives are awkward to count. So what I would suggest, again, it's another way of cheating. It's difficult to count groups of 5 to a beat. It's easy to say a 5-syllable word to the beat. I use the word opportunity. If you count the syllables, opportunity, and we group the notes. Opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. So slowly. And then bringing the speed up as you get more confident with it, but always, of course, prioritise accuracy over speed. That's vitally important. Moving on then, next up we're going to group it in 6s. I think you're seeing a pattern here. And here I'm not really going to technically sequence. This is more what you might think of as stacking. So I'm going to play D string, A string, D string, then A, D, G, D, G, B, G, B, E. And you quite often see this is associated with people like Zakk Wylde, for example, and you can try this legato as well if you're feeling brave. And now we're going to get really exotic, we're going to go into 7s. So here, again, counting 7 notes to a beat is difficult, so don't cheat. So my phrase is, what an opportunity. There are 7 syllables. What an opportunity, what an add some hammer-ons and pull-offs into that. And they are quite fun as you start to master these weirder, more strangely sequenced groups. And then we're going to try back to the stack idea as we move into 8s. And here, so I'm going to play E, A, D, G, A, D, G, B, D, G, B, E. And come back down. Okay, so now we're going to move away from the numbered groups, and that's taken us through the first, let me see, 6 patterns. We've got 4 left. So now let's return to this sequencing in 3s idea that we looked at to begin with, and let's add another dimension to it. I like to think of this as super sequencing. So what I'm going to do here is sequence my way through the first 4 sequences, going across the E, A, and D strings, then jump back to the A, run 4 sequences from there, getting me across the A, D and onto the G strings, and starting again from the D, and then from the G. So you get like a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a feel each time. So effectively this is a 3-bar run. Woo! So I was distracted looking at my hair and the camera. There we go, that's it. That's what can happen here. You can't see it, but there's a spider crawling up my foot and that distracted me. I'm just going to show you that again, this time with some hammer-ons and pull-offs, illustrate how you can get a bit more like a Led Zepp AC/DC feel on this. Okay, so everything so far has been a little bit of a classic rock approach to this. We're going to try and take a little step away from that with this next one. Now this is a wide interval approach and we're using mostly fourths here, but we will get the odd third in there as well. So I'm playing, well, I'll play through it the first time. So we're going from 5th fret E to 5th fret A, 8th fret E to 7th fret A, and I'm using a mixture of fret hand, scrolling back, and some quite hefty pick hand music to keep those notes from blurring into each other. Then 5th fret A to 5th fret D, 7th fret A to 7th fret D, carry on, that's all the way up the scale. That one pretty much sounds good at any tempo. And has the advantage of being pentatonic, but not sounding like your classic pentatonic cliche. They can have a lot of fun with that one. Also suits a hybrid picking approach. And moving on with, carrying on with the wide interval approach, this is something I nicked from doing the Sophie Lloyd style video quite a while back now in fact, and this is just string skipping. So all I'm doing is I'm moving across the scale, hammering on, pulling off, but instead of going sequentially like that, I'm skipping strings. So I'm going E to D, A, G, D, B, G, E, coming back down, E, G, B, D, G, A, D, E. Excuse me. So slowly. And well, not quite Sophie Lloyd warp speed, would it? Sophie Lloyd warp speed, excuse me. But a little faster. There we go. I'm going to finish off with something that my teenage self would have chewed his own arm off to learn, which is the Angus Young lick. This is basically when I did the Angus Young style guide. Some of you have seen that. This is a reprise of that lick. If you haven't seen that, go and see it anyway. Still some cool stuff you'll enjoy. But it's such a useful run. And basically, this is one of those instances where every player has certain patterns that they naturally gravitate towards. It's not meant as a criticism, we all do it. And becomes part of their signature style. But this particular lick, when I was starting out trying to figure out how to play some of the flashy lead stuff, fascinated me. Couldn't make head or tail of it. So if you're out there trying to make head or tail of it, then consider this a gift. So what I'm doing here, my actual little legato sill is like a sequence. So pulling off 8th to 5th on the E string, down to the 8th fret B, and back to 5th fret high E, and then coming down. And then I'm going to take that and give it another go. All you do next is add a 5th fret root note on the top there. And if we turn that around, so there's your cell there. Just move that across the strings. And don't forget that when you're practicing these licks to try them out in context, a great way to do that is, well, I think it was 2 bars on, 2 bars off idea, where you're playing 2 bars and 8 power chord groove. And of course, don't forget, you can also try them out over obviously backing tracks, loops, anything like that. And when you take this as well, don't just try it in A at the 5th fret, try it in A at the 17th fret. All sorts of fun to be had on there, taking through the different positions of the scale. And do try linking them up all over the fretboard. Right, I will leave you with a little bit of a jam. If you have enjoyed this, once again, please do like, share, subscribe, and click the little notification button, and I will see you again soon. All right. All right.